Okay. So basically, uh, I have shared this PowerPoint slide in PDF form on the VLE. Okay, so you can actually look into the content. So what I'm going to do is that I'm going to introduce you to research, a little bit of examples and explanation. Okay, so our chapter 1, or this is module 1, is introduction to research. Okay, now what is research? Okay, as a general term, research is gathering information that answers a question and solves a problem. Okay, now there are several keywords here. First, for anything to be considered a research, there must be a process for you to gather information. So meaning that before you embark on research, there must be some information that you need to gather or you need to collect. Now, what's the purpose of this information? Okay, now this information is to answer a question or answer several questions, and the purpose of answering this question is to solve a problem. Okay, now this is what we call a research. Okay, for example, let us actually take one example. Example number 1, a lecturer identifies suitable teaching and learning tools and techniques to be used in the work or study at home environment due to the pandemic. Okay, example number 2, a foreman finds out what procedure to use to fix a hybrid car. Okay, now these two examples are considered research. Okay, why? Okay, first and foremost, you see that now the situation in example number 1, okay, see, these suitable teaching and learning tools and techniques, okay, to be used in the work or study at home environment. Work, study at home environment. Okay, so basically, because of now, currently, you see, with the pandemic, okay, we cannot have face-to-face connectivity. So everything is virtual. So basically, even the lecturers are not quite sure what is the best technique for us to teach in this environment, this online virtual environment. Okay, we are not quite sure. So meaning that we know we have some idea, but we ourselves are actually still trying to what is the best way to do it. Okay, now because of there is a problem, you see, this is a problem, okay, and people are not sort of comfortable with this situation yet. So this becomes a research question, meaning that how do you best teach or learn in the WFH, or work from home or study from home environment. Okay, now let's say I give you one example which we do not consider a research. For example, let's say that this is not, there's no pandemic. Okay, before 2020, there is no pandemic. So what lecturers do is that we actually meet the students in the lab or in the classroom. Okay, most probably there will be there is a laptop. We plug the laptop to our projector, okay, and we display the content of our PowerPoint slides, okay, at the screen, and we actually have some interaction in class. Okay, now there's no problem there because we are comfortable, we are sure of how best to proceed with the teaching and learning. So because of that, that cannot be a research. Okay, that cannot be a research because a research must be something that we don't have any answer, or the answer is not strong. So but we are going to try to find an answer. So this is it can become a research if we are researching in the how to teach or how to learn from home environment. Okay, example number 2, we see that the keyword here is because the problem is to fix a hybrid car. Okay, a hybrid car is different from a normal car. Okay, a normal car runs on petrol. The engine runs on petrol. So if you go to any workshop, so if you have problems with your car or even your motorcycle, okay, so basically there's no research there. Why? Because the foreman will know what to do. Why? Because the foreman has done so every day. Every day is the same thing. So meaning that all the problems are solved and there's no research there. But for example, let's say that a hybrid car whereby there is a combination of petrol-based engine and also electrical engine. Okay, that is a hybrid car. So let's say that the foreman is not familiar with that procedure. So if that is the case, you will see that to answer a problem how to fix a hybrid car can be a research problem. Okay, can be a research problem. Okay, now, okay, any question on this? Okay, the first slide. Okay, any question?
No,
Just to reiterate, meaning research is basically to conduct investigation, just to was it finding making a like an action to find to make findings on the our subject, and it's not research if it's either already known or you're going through something that's that is procedure, I guess, with like with not really with what you think is concrete evidence. Because when you said something like the foreman fixes his car is not research, I was thinking something more of like when someone is cooking or baking, he's not exactly expert at it, but he is maybe someone who is learning technically. So is it that research or is it not research? I don't know.
So basically, it's a very good question. Thank you. So
Yeah.
basically, it depends on the context. Okay, now I give you one example of research. Okay, okay. Let's say that you have a primary school children. Ni budak-budak sekolah. Okay, primary between 7 to 12 years old. Okay, let's say that you give one assignment to them. Okay, now create a website. Create a website, a simple website that shows the picture of, let's say, some pictures of him or her with the family and some text. Okay, for a student aged from 7 to 12 years old, developing a website can be a research. Why? Because in context, because we do not expect students that age would be able to create a web page, and they need to actually gather information on how do I put the pictures on the website, okay, on the web page and so on. Okay, now this is for a student. So now in the developing website for a student aged 7 to 12, we may consider that as a research to them. For them, that's research. Okay, however, let's say that we take a BSE student. BSE student, year 3, third year, or final year, let's say final year BSE student, then there is a question. Okay, if this student wants to create a website, a web page with a simple text and some pictures on the web page, do we consider that as a research? Okay, the answer is no. Why? Because at the level of that particular BSE students, we consider that, you know, developing a web page of a website, especially a static page, is something that like a routine thing, something that we expect you to be able to create without having to do lots of work in terms of research and so on. Okay, so
Yeah.
you see, although you see creating a web page, the same title for a primary school student is a research, but for a final year BSE student, it may not considered as a research. You see, although it's the same thing. Okay, now similarly, for example, let's say that if we take example number 2, the foreman just now, let's say that that particular foreman, okay, has been fixing a hybrid car every day. So meaning that he is an expert in fixing a hybrid car because he does that every day. So now, for this particular foreman, do we consider that he is doing a research if he is fixing a hybrid car? So the answer is no. Why? Because it has become a routine thing for him. Okay. So it's no longer research. Okay, now similar, let's say that you ask me about example of cooking. Okay, let's say that for someone like me who is good in cooking Maggi mee but cannot cook other menus. Okay, for someone like me, okay, if you ask me, okay, please cook nasi biryani gum. Okay, nasi biryani rice gum with kuzi mutton, for example. This is that particular menu. Okay, so for me to actually approach this, it can be research for me. Why? Because before I can cook this, I must go and find information. So where do I get information? Perhaps there are several ways to get information. First, I look for like some cookbook. Perhaps I can go into the YouTube to look for menus. Okay, and during the process of cooking, I may need to ask people who are experienced in this. How do I actually cook this? Okay, this biryani gum rice with kuzi mutton. Okay, for example. So, for me, that is actually a research for me in my context. But if you actually ask someone who is a cook, meaning that the makcik who sells biryani rice every day, okay, at the restaurant or some stall somewhere. So basically for her, okay, cooking this biryani gum rice with kuzi mutton is not a research because for her this is like a routine thing. Okay, this is like a routine thing. So basically, research is when there is a problem to be solved. When there is a problem to be solved. Okay. So basically that is something that there is a difference. Okay, in terms of, that's why the context of who you are, meaning that the doer, and the things that needs to be done will determine whether a particular thing is a research or not a research. Okay. Do you have any, and am I answering your question just now?
Yeah, I think so. So from what I get, it is more of what's it called? More of the objectives of the action basically. So anything research is just what it says like gathering information, answering the question that you have questions for, and for the problems also answering the
Okay.
questions.
Yes. Yes. Okay.